Welcome to episode 54 of Undrafted Amateurs. I am Joe Wise, and I'm here with Alan Jordan. And today we are talking about NFL Super Wild Card Weekend recaps, and we are picking for the Divisional Round. And then we've got a draft later on in the episode. And so, as always, you can look at the timestamps and jump ahead to what you want to hear. Episode 54. A lot happened since the last episode.
A lot did happen since the last episode. We had a few big coaching changes come about. Saban left, Belichick left, and Pete Carroll. So those are three major moves.
It was already a crazy carousel before this.
Yeah.
And then now this happening.
That's a big week.
This is a big week in sports. And not even to mention everything that actually happened on the field. Super Wild Card Weekend. It was pretty wild. A lot of blowouts, honestly.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for a lot closer of games here. We both had a tough time with picks overall.
We kind of did. We were both 2-4. I will say, though, I've never been as happy to be as wrong as I was with this. Like, we rode with the Eagles and the Cowboys.
I'll take the Eagles and Cowboys all day for that.
I'll be wrong for that to happen any day, all day, every day.
I would have rather it been the Bills, but, you know, the Eagles fan base deserves this, I think, just a little bit.
Do you hate Buffalo more than Philly right now?
The thing is, I have a hard time hating Buffalo. Obviously, I'm a Dolphins fan, so I don't love Buffalo. I like Josh Allen.
Right. But Philly.
He's a good quarterback. Philly, I really like Jalen Hurts, but Philly's fan base, man.
The city of it.
I'm out on that. I used to really kind of pull for Philadelphia a little bit because Sheldon Brown, who went to my high school, played on Philadelphia. And he also played at South Carolina. So I kind of liked them a little bit growing up just because he was hometown hero, you know, kind of had to pull for him. But
Louisville guy?
Yeah. He's not on there anymore. And the Philly fan base has really just kind of shown his colors lately, I feel like. So I'm out on Philly.
Yeah, they're ready to kick Sirianni out, which we should probably talk about later. But before we get into the games, how was your weekend? What you been up to in life? I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute.
Yeah, it has been a minute. A lot of duck hunting this weekend. This year, I've kind of really gotten into that. Been enjoying that a good bit. Got caught in a crazy lightning storm during duck hunting, which is not really something that you want to happen when you're out in the mangroves and they're all like 6 feet tall and you're about as tall as the tallest thing out there.
That's wild.
Me and my buddy had a big bolt of lightning strike like 100 yards from us, and we were just... At one point, I turned and looked at him and was like, man, do you know CPR? Because we might be in trouble here. So
what
overall,
is it? Like
a good
you're
weekend.
Trying to keep 2 feet on the... No, 1 foot on the ground or two. What is it that grounds it?
I mean, ideally, if you could do the flamingo pose and have 1 foot on the ground and get as low as possible, that would be great. But you're pretty much trying to get as least contact with the ground as possible and stay as low as possible because it strikes the higher things. And ideally, you don't want to be in water, but everything was wet because it was raining. So
good thing it's a good conduit for electricity.
Yeah, we were in waders that have a lot of rubber in them, so maybe that would have played to our favor. But overall, didn't get struck, so it was a good weekend.
Dude, weather was wild this weekend. I was caught in a snowstorm. So you were caught in a lightning storm. I was caught in a snowstorm.
Yeah, but you want that while you're snowboarding, right?
Yeah, so we went out there, went to Denver to see my brother, and then went out skiing. First day was awesome. We ended up not going the second day, and we're coming back, and we weren't able to leave the mountains. So we were like 70 was closed. We ended up having to get another Airbnb and then left the next morning at 6 a.m. and it took about 3.5 hours instead of 1.5 to get back to Denver.
What mountain were you at?
We were staying in between Breck and Keystone. Gotcha. And we were going to ski Breck the first day and then Keystone the second. Like I said, we ended up not doing that and just doing Breck. But it was awesome. Like the runs itself, I think I had probably my favorite run I've ever had. Because it was the one of the lifts to the top was shut down. Then I took another one. So first off, I've never done like one of the big T-bars where you like lean back against it. And I was getting on with my cousin, which are already like a little wonky because you're like balanced on each side of it. And I don't know what happened, but somehow we fell on it. And it was like we're going up to the section that has like the signs all around. It's like experts only. And then fall on the lift.
Dang. I'm sure you showed them up though. You showed them what was up.
Something like that. Got up to the top and... So I did the bowl up there, and it was thigh high of powder for the first couple 100 yards. It was the most fun run I think I've ever had.
Let's go.
Just
and
seriously,
then you got
like
sick
thigh
afterwards.
high. And then I got sick. Yeah, so it got stuck.
Sick day to sick day.
Sick day to sick day.
Love it. Dude, you sound like such a snowboard bro with Breck, thigh high powder. All the quick hitter terms. I
That
love
was
it though.
just a description of the powder was up to the thigh and it was
I
that
know. Well,
high.
I think Breck was the one that got me.
I get it. I get it. I
I
should
know
have
where
said
I know what you're.
Breckenridge.
Yeah, Breckenridge.
Yeah, but anyway, football. That's what we're here to talk about, I guess.
Absolutely.
Let's just jump into the games. We had the Texans Browns. We were both very wrong about Joe Flacco.
Yeah, man. Not the ending to the storybook, whatever you want to call it, Cinderella story that we all saw. Tough game for Flacco, but we did get C.J. Stroud out of it, doing
Dude,
real well.
C.J. Stroud looks so good.
Yeah, he did.
Is not only that he's stat lines are good, the passes he's making just looks awesome. I love what the Texans are doing right now. Like D'Amico Ryans, C.J. Stroud. I was wrong about him personally. Like I didn't think he was going to be a flop, but I didn't think he was going to be that good.
You talking about Stroud?
Yeah.
I remember specifically talking about who the Panthers were going to draft, and both of us kind of have a little bit of stake in the Panthers from the past, and
From a past life.
yeah, from a past life. I can't remember if it was one of us or one of our buddies, but there were a few of us that were like, dude, if the Panthers draft C.J. Stroud, we're just totally out on the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't have been more wrong, and I love it. Like, he's doing great. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he did come from Ohio State, and no Ohio State quarterback has ever panned out.
Right, except for if you count Joe Burrow, which we don't.
Yeah, we don't count Joe Burrow
No,
at all.
because they were too stupid to start him. That's
Yeah.
That's
He
literally
never-
all you need to know.
Never played at Ohio State, so it doesn't even count. But yeah, man, CJ Stroud is balling right now.
The situation where he's at right now in the Texans is also perfect, I think.
It is. It does seem perfect for him. It's crazy how bad they were last year, though, and this year they're so good.
Them and the Colts, they were playing for the division, and
Yeah.
they were both arguably the worst teams in the NFL last year.
That's something that I did want to bring up with the Colts and the Texans. At the beginning of the year, it looked like it was clear-cut Jaguars division.
We thought it was Trevor Lawrence's division for the next, decade?
Yeah. And
Well, we didn't. Others did.
Right. And now it's obvious that it's probably not. It's not going to be like a takeover like we thought it probably would be.
If anything, it's a C.J. Stroud takeover.
Yeah. And then we still have Anthony Richardson coming back next year for the Colts. So a lot of quarterback talent.
It's anyone's division except for the Titans.
Yep. But we thought that last year with the other team, so maybe the Titans turn around and win it next year.
That's true. So Nico Collins looks awesome right now. Singletary looks good. Like we said, CJ Stroud looks good. Their defense, though, like that was one of the interesting things in this game. We expected so much more from the Browns defense.
Yeah, we did. And I think that was like one of the biggest things we were saying about the Browns, why they would make a run in the playoffs, is their defense is supposed to be elite. And they did not look any stretch of elite in this game.
I mean, the Texans just tore them up, and then the Texans defense looked elite. Which they've been good all year. D'Amico Ryan's defensive-minded head coach. Like, it makes sense, but seriously, this was a little bit of a shock. Just how drastically different it looked.
Right. I think defense overall was the deciding factor in that game because 2 pick sixes?
Right. Yeah, 2 pick sixes.
Yeah, I mean you're not going to have a good chance of winning the game if you throw 2 pick sixes. So I hate that for Joe Flacco. But again, stoked for CJ Stroud.
Yeah, the only other thing with this game is I thought it was going to be a good game at first. And then it was just like something flipped. And there was no looking back at that point.
Yeah, I think there was something flipped was the 2 pick sixes.
Yeah, well, I guess the first one, and then it was no looking back after that. But
Right.
Do we think the Texans now have a shot beating the Ravens?
I didn't think they had a shot at beating the Browns. But now, I think I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I think there's a decent shot that under the right circumstances it could happen.
There could be a universe where Lamar Jackson, we know that he's struggled in the past in the playoffs. They
Right.
come off a week, they come out flat, and then the Texans come out like this, hit them in the mouth right away, and then the Ravens are playing from behind. I'm not saying it could happen or would happen, but it could potentially happen.
I agree. I could see it happening. We'll see. It's a home playoff game for the Ravens, what's the weather supposed to be like then? Do you know? Snow game.
It is looking like snow on Friday, clearing up on Saturday. 27 degrees as the high, 23 is the low.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the Texans may be a little more affected by the cold weather than the Ravens. The Ravens are used to it. Texans play indoors all year, right?
Right, and Houston.
Yeah. And Houston's not too cold of a place. I think there's a decent chance, man. I think it's going to be a good game. I'll put it at that.
So the AFC side of the playoffs right now, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds remaining. So we've got like number 1 versus number 4 and 2 and 3.
Right. I guess that is a good point.
Which, again, you think that's not surprising. That's the way it's supposed to be, but it just feels weird that it actually shook up without any other teams in.
Yeah, that feels weird to me because we both had, for some reason, the Browns over the Texans.
Yeah. I mean,
Both picked the wrong upset.
They were 11-6. It was a good season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway.
All right, next game. I regret to inform you that the Dolphins season is over. I think we all kind of felt it after the Bills game. I didn't want to accept it. I foolishly picked with my heart, picked the Dolphins, and they had no chance in this game.
You say foolishly now, but we picked with our head and picked the Eagles over the Bucs and the Cowboys to win it over the Packers. That was the big one. It's like our heart says go with the Packers.
Right. This game just felt like from the get-go, the Dolphins are going and playing in the fourth coldest playoff game of all time.
Do you know what the other three were?
They live in Miami. The other three?
Yeah.
Oh, I did see it on TV. I don't know off the top of my head.
So Ice Bowl number 1,
yep.
Packers, Cowboys, NFC. That one was -13, wind chill of -48. Then 2 was the Bengals and Chargers AFC Championship. And so the Ice Bowl was 67. The AFC Championship was 82, which was -9, wind chill of -59 degrees. It's wild.
That's
then
bad.
The Seahawks and Vikings in the wild card in 2016 was the third one.
Interesting. Global warming.
Global
the coldest
warming.
games every year getting warmer.
Global cool warming.
Global cool warming. Still negative. Cool. What was the wind chill of this game? -20 something?
Yeah, it was -9 and felt like -28 was what they said.
Yeah, that's not good for Miami boys.
No.
The Dolphins essentially had one offensive play that mattered the entire game, and it was a sick play.
Tyreek Hill's touchdown.
Yeah, and that was when it was still very much a game. And it really is dominant as the Chiefs were. It was a game up until the fourth quarter. So, man, the Dolphins could just not get anything going on offense at all. I'm not sure if it was play calling, if it was the cold, or what it was. But the offense shouldn't have been the issue. They didn't, really they were pretty fully loaded on offense. Didn't have a whole lot of injuries. The injuries were on defense.
Right.
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill's touchdown was so nice, though.
Mm-hmm.
With the PI, fights back through it, catches it, and then just jukes someone out of his shoes for a touchdown.
Yeah, I love when players fight back through pass interference because, you can try to flop and get it called, but then if you don't get it called, it's, just an incomplete pass. So fight back through it, and you still get the flag a lot of times, and you got a touchdown out of it.
Go get a touchdown. I love that.
Yeah.
To what you're saying, though, about the Dolphins' defense, the flip side of this game that I don't want to say I doubted, but was a little bit surprised at Kansas City's offense. I think I'm not ready to crown them as old KC's back or anything, but it did seem like Rashee Rice the last half of the season's been stepping up a lot. Pacheco did pretty good. Their offense was a lot better than it's been the second half of the season, I think.
Yeah, I thought so too. Pacheco definitely set the tone on that first drive. He was just running mad like he always does.
One-man stampede running.
Yeah. He definitely set the tone there, and I think they opened up the passing game with that. Mm-hmm. But again, the Dolphins were pretty depleted on defense, so we'll see how it carries over to next week. Kelsey, though, had a lot of drops. I mean, that game could have gotten a lot more out of hand quickly if he would have caught some of those passes.
Are we blaming Taylor Swift for this?
I wasn't going to be the one to say it. I wanted to hear you say it.
I'm not focused on football anymore?
I'm not blaming her, but she literally has a song about that. What's that song called? Where she talks about the football player.
Isn't that 15 or whatever? You'll do things greater than going and dating the boy on the football team.
Is that the one?
I don't know. You'll do things bigger than dating the boy on the football team?
No, I don't think that's the...
Then what are you talking about?
Doesn't she have one where it's oh, no. That's a Carrie Underwood song.
The All-American girl?
Yeah. The All-American girl where he's not going to practice because he's dating this girl.
Maybe Carrie Underwood was telling the world what was going to happen with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
She's a time traveler. She wrote this about them.
That's kind of wild. I will say about Taylor Swift, though, her coat was fire. That 87 one?
That was a fire cut.
And Kyle Juszczyk's wife was the one who made it for her and Brittany. And
Oh,
Debo
dang.
was rocking one of Brock Purdy a few weeks ago. It was like a vest like that. It's pretty
We
sick.
we need to get those,
Yeah,
but with our own numbers on.
right.
Yeah.
That we will have eventually once we get invited to a tryout.
Right, our practice numbers.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not ready to say this is Taylor Swift's fault. I'm not going to put the blame on her, but I do think it probably is a distraction for Kelsey. He's played significantly worse since they started dating. Or it could be the fact that
He's
you
getting
stole
old.
him from me in fantasy.
I know that's what it is. It's 100%
Because
what it
every year I get Kelsey and he balls out, and then this year I don't get him. And I had Hawkinson, and he was the number one tight end. So maybe it's just the curse of not being on my fantasy.
Dude, I'm just looking for someone else to blame because the blame rests solely on my shoulders because I tried to steal him from you.
Yeah. Have we talked about this on here yet?
I think I talked about it before you were on it, but out of pure spite for you, I went and passed up Christian McCaffrey because I was surprised that he fell just to draft Travis Kelce just to attack you.
This man drafted Travis Kelce over Christian McCaffrey
And it tore me apart all year long.
every week. It was awesome. And then we let our buddy win the championship because of
He
that.
got Christian McCaffrey. How many times do you think I texted you this year about it?
We'll have to go back. Probably more than Christian McCaffrey has touchdowns this year, which is a lot.
That's
So,
that's so
Stop.
wild.
yeah, that's rough, man. Sorry about that. Don't do it again.
Mm.
Do you think the Chiefs are back, though? Like, being contenders? What do we think on that?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard
Yeah, I
because
don't think
they're
so either.
they're in the divisional round. So win 3 more games, that's a Super Bowl. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're in a good position.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, this is a tough one because it just feels like the pieces aren't there on their team that most of the other teams in the playoffs have. I would say with the exception of the Bucs. Maybe just the Bucs.
Mm-hmm. I would be surprised if the Chiefs, very surprised actually, if the Chiefs were capable of winning a Super Bowl this year. That being said, they could win this weekend.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there's still Patrick Mahomes. Like he can still pull it out.
Yeah.
I think that if the Texans were playing them, I would probably pick the Texans right now over the Chiefs,
I think I would too.
which is crazy. Like you're
It is
saying,
crazy.
first year quarterback, first year head coach over Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Yeah.
But
Keep proving us wrong though. Like
the Chiefs or the Texans keep proving us wrong.
both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them. Yeah, I would love that matchup. I would want to see that a lot. Maybe we'll get it next week.
Dang.
That
Yeah,
would
maybe
be a big turn of events.
that would be a wild one. But
Yeah.
who knows? I wouldn't love that since my preseason Super Bowl pick was 49ers versus Bills, and then midseason was 49ers versus Ravens. So either one of those I'd feel good about. So if this flips and the script ends up being Chiefs versus Texans, that's not ideal. It's not ideal for me.
Hey, those are pretty good preseason and midseason picks though.
I appreciate
Props.
that. I appreciate that because I've been missing a lot of other ones lately. Last question for you as a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
Do you think this is crazy. Do you think that Tua is going to be the answer moving forward? Or do you think that the Dolphins need to move on from him?
I like Tua.
I mean, I like him too, but
Yeah. It's tough, man. I think you got to give him another year for sure. He played awesome this year in games that weren't close. I think the big thing is getting him more comfortable in tight games like that. I think he doesn't have a lot of pocket mobility. Like once the pocket collapses, he's either getting sacked or he's throwing it away pretty much. Like you don't see him scramble and make a lot of plays, unfortunately.
that's a little bit what concerns me though.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have quite the arm strength of even like Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, any of those people. You think he does?
Like the number of downfield passes he completed this year, I think he does. Like he might not be able to throw as far by like 5 yards, but I think his like deep ball is pretty solid.
I think it's more of what I was saying of like fitting it in tighter windows and things like that.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like he has to throw it quick and get it out in front. And then, but so not even that though to me. It's let's compare him and Brock Purdy because I would say arm wise, they're pretty similar. And like both have had great seasons, good stat lines. There's like a little bit more of a grit in Brock Purdy of moving around the pocket, getting a first down when he needs it. And I just haven't seen any of that from Tua. Like he was
Yeah.
sliding on third down in this game when you need it.
Yeah, that concerns me about Tua. I think some of that probably has to do with his concussion history, his injury history, unfortunately. I mean, it is what it is there. But yeah, you don't want to see that in a playoff game. I don't know. I still think he has the tools to do it. So
Yeah,
I like him where he is for at least another year. And then, if we see similar stuff next year, maybe consider moving on. But I like him right now.
I think I'm with you. The only thing that would concern me then is at what point do you miss out on the window that you have with the Dolphins' talent right now? Like if you stick with Tua too long, you miss Tyreek Hill and you got to go find new ones, and that's not the easiest endeavor.
Yeah, I honestly think one of the Dolphins' biggest problems is underutilization of their talent, which sounds crazy. Jalen Waddle should get a lot more looks than he does, especially when people are doubling up on Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle would be a top receiver on any other team. And I feel like he kind of almost lives under the radar a little bit on the Dolphins.
Especially the second half of the season, it felt like.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think Tua's got to learn to spread the ball to people other than Hill more often. Because you saw, like, whenever Hill went out of, was it the Titans game that he went out of? And the offense just kind of fell apart. It can't run just through Tyreek, especially with as much talent as they have on that team. So I think that may be the bigger problem than just Tua himself.
I'm with you on that. The Packers, Cowboys. We thought since it was in Jerry's world, we thought that the Packers were the inferior team. We thought that we had to go with the Cowboys. And my, were we wrong?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Were we?
I've never been so happy to be so wrong in my life.
This game wasn't close.
Not even a little bit. It was 27-0.
No, and I think I recall saying on the podcast that this game wouldn't be close. But I was talking about with the Cowboys beating the Packers. So ate my words on that one happily.
Yeah.
It tasted pretty good.
Yeah, because I was like, I think it might be closer than you think. Talking about that the Packers were going to cover the spread.
You did say that.
But I was also wrong because it wasn't closer.
Right.
Just the other team. But Jordan Love, obviously he went off in this game. They took him out in the fourth quarter. He still had 272 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. But in his last 9 games, he's 212 out of 300, so just over 70% for 2,422 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That's a 116.6 rating.
Yeesh. Yeah, they had a big run the last 9 games.
Yeah, they basically have been in the playoffs for a while.
Yeah.
Which is, obviously, we're jumping ahead, but going into the game against the 49ers, the one thing that is concerning to me is that the Niners haven't played a meaningful game in a little bit. Obviously, then you had the bye, and then the Packers have essentially been in the playoffs the last 5 weeks.
Ooh, hope we don't see another Braves postseason kind of slump there to start out.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I hope so too.
The other interesting things about the Packers this year is they are by far the youngest team. Their average age is 25 years old and 8 months, 25 years, 8 months. The next closest was actually the Cowboys, and they were 26 years, 4 months. And so get this, though. So of all of their young receivers, especially, the Jordan Love, including this game, threw 35 touchdowns to 10 different people.
10 different people. That's what I'm saying about spreading the ball around. It's so important.
And so in the regular season, because the 3 touchdowns thrown were to people who already had touchdowns. In the 32 touchdowns in the regular season, 10 different people had touchdown receptions.
Yeah, that's good.
Because Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed both had 8. Then Christian Watson was at 5. Spreading the ball around.
Is Love going to be the Packers' next just long-term quarterback? Are they going to go Favre, Rodgers, Love?
What an embarrassment of riches for any other sports organization.
Yeah.
I mean, man. Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee's show was like, don't get into that conversation with them because that's just too much pressure of getting into it and crowning someone the first year. Let them just play, which I get that. And I think that's probably the right answers from Rodgers. But from our side, yeah, I think he is. I think the Packers are going to be dangerous for a while.
It seems like they will, man. That's crazy. No other team's ever done that, I don't think.
I mean,
back to back to back franchise quarterbacks without having any slip ups in there. That's wild.
And then what was crazy is before the bye, people were talking about should they move on from Jordan Love. They were like,
people just talk, man.
people do talk. It drives me nuts. I don't know why I'm giving it the time of day, but the fact that he just turns it around and then throws 21 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Yeah, I love that.
That's Rodgers' numbers.
What a beast.
But
he's gonna be good for a long time. How old is he? 24?
Probably like, I guess he's in the league 3 years now, maybe 25 would be my guess.
Right.
But then the other side of it, do you think that Mike McCarthy should get fired or will get fired, I guess? Because it's hard to say because the last 3 seasons have had 12 wins, which is absurd talking about firing a coach that had 12 wins.
Yeah, it is. But when you put up playoff performances like that, especially against a team everybody thinks is inferior, you're going to have those talks. I don't personally think that warrants getting fired. I also hate the heat on Dak because Dak played really well this year. Obviously did not have a good game here, and you can certainly criticize that. I still think Dak's a solid quarterback. I think McCarthy may get fired, though. Just with the way Jerry Jones is, I could see it happening.
On one hand, that feels like it could be what I think the Titans are doing by firing Vrabel, where it just sets your organization back for a decade. But then the other side of it, they have so much talent. They keep losing in situations like this. They played bad situational ball all year. There is a lot of it that comes back to coaching.
Yeah, there is. And with as much talent as they have, they shouldn't be having a first-round exit every year. So I think it could be justified. I don't necessarily think that has to happen. I think maybe give him another year, but wouldn't be surprised if he did get fired.
Because I also wonder if he does get fired. And I agree. We've been defending Dak on this podcast all year. I don't think Dak should go, but I wonder if they would be a package deal. At what, like, you know what I mean? At what point would a new coach want to come in and be able to start over?
Right.
And so where we're talking about with Tua of at what point do you stick with them too long that your window closes? I think with Mike McCarthy, you almost time it up with the Dak window.
Yeah, and I say I don't like the Dak heat. I also don't think it will be a terrible move for the Cowboys to move on from Dak. I think it might benefit Dak to go somewhere else too.
Yeah.
Playing for the Cowboys, you get so much heat from everybody.
Quarterback for the Cowboys. Nothing's going to be more scrutinized than that.
Nobody is. It would probably benefit Dak to go on. The Cowboys may benefit from getting somebody fresh in there. Again, like not saying Dak's the problem, but it just a situation may benefit both of them to move on.
I mean, I think you got to give it another year. I think the exact same thing will happen next year, to be honest. But I think that while the team's where it's at right now, maybe give it one more year before you turn over because there's just so much talent there.
Yeah. Unless you could get somebody like a lateral move from Dak and, just try somebody slightly different.
Trey Lance?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know about that one.
I know about that one. No.
Yeah, no.
Who knows? We knows.
We knows.
That's going to become like a saying of the pod. We keep it up. Who knows? We knows.
I like that. We got to keep it rolling.
I like that. Well, the next game was the only good game in terms of close. And that was the Lions and Rams, 24-23.
That was a super fun game to watch. The first, I think, 3 possessions for both of these teams had ended in scores. I thought it was going to be super back and forth all game, and it pretty much was. I thought it was going to be a lot higher scoring based on the beginning, but
yeah, I thought it was a straight shootout. It was 38 points in the first half, and then only 9 in the second.
Looking back at the score, I thought that there were more points in this game than that, just based on how exciting it was, actually.
Because there were a lot of field goals towards the end, especially for the Rams. I felt like because if you look at yards, they had almost 100 more. It was 425 to 334, and they were driving across the field. They just ended up settling for a lot of field goals.
Yeah. This was a game where every possession felt like you had to score to stay in it for both teams. Puka looked awesome. Dude was running mad. Yards after catch for Puka is crazy.
Crazy.
Man. He's such a beast.
Dude, I love it. I'm all for Puka, so it made me excited because we made the video, talked about how he set the single season rookie record for receptions and yards. And then he goes on in his first playoff game to set the rookie playoff receiving record. He had 181 yards.
Golly, man.
It's the most by a rookie in the playoffs ever.
Dude is nice.
Dude is so nice.
Real nice. But let's talk more about the Lions because they're the real heroes of this one.
They deserve it. Ford Field was electric, like you said it would be.
Yeah, I was happy to see that. Jared Goff, man, he did it.
He did it.
He did it. Love to see that. And man, Dan Campbell. I think Dan Campbell's my favorite coach in the NFL, beside Mike McDaniel. But have you seen his coffee order in the morning?
No, what is it?
I believe it's 2 venti coffees with 3 shots of espresso in them each. It's like over 1,000 milligrams of caffeine.
1,000 milligrams of caffeine. I can respect that.
It's something absolutely insane, but he's electric, man. Going for that, when they could have just run the ball at the end and tried to run the clock down, or they get the first down to end the game.
That pass.
I love it. Playing to win, baby.
What I love,
to win.
if you look at it throughout the season, we talked about, okay, like the Cowboys, when they were playing them and they had that pass out that were like, I didn't love, because I was like, that's just a really low percentage pass. And so you basically just handed them a timeout. Or you have people that are just running it and you are essentially handing them the ball with 40, 50 seconds left, whatever. This was a perfect blend. It was a high percentage pass that they nail a lot of the time, and they went for it. Yeah, of course, it could have gotten tipped and stuff could have happened, but like, you're setting yourself up to win. And I love it. Yep.
Go to your best guy, high percentage pass. Coach the quarterback if it's not there. Eat the sack. That takes time off too.
Right.
I love that play, man. That got me going for sure.
I do like him as a coach. I think it's fun. I also think I was loving how much they were talking about how the city of Detroit just deserved this and how happy they were. And I'm like, you know what? Honestly, for a city, this is one of the best things they got going for them.
Detroit needs this. The Pistons are terrible. I guess Michigan did just win the national championship in football, so they do have that too.
That's true. But
Detroit as a city has really been down and out lately, so good for them, man.
Good for them. The other thing about Goff, though, I was pumped for him. I thought it was a good, however you want to frame it, revenge game, whatever. But Matthew Stafford looked very good.
Like, he was taking hits, getting up, and just slinging the ball, man. That dude is tough.
He threw for 367, 2 touchdowns, no picks. There were no turnovers in this game, which was kind of wild.
That was wild. I was kind of waiting for one to happen as well. But yeah, Matt Stafford came back to Detroit, and he wanted no part of helping the Lions win that playoff game.
I mean, he did his part.
Yeah. Played a heck of a game for sure.
St. Brown also had a great game.
Yeah, he looked like a beast. Caught the game-winning catch essentially to get that first down. He's going to be a good wide receiver for a while, I think. He's pretty young.
He got snubbed in the Pro Bowl, didn't he? He made, I think, first-team All-Pro and didn't get a Pro Bowl selection.
The way they pick Pro Bowl is so weird. It's
jacked.
fan-voted, right?
Yeah, it's so jacked up because it's a popularity vote. It's like T.J. Watt last year got it.
Yeah.
Which he played half the season. I think he ended up with like 5 or 6 sacks.
Yeah, I don't love that. I feel like they need a better way of picking it. I also don't love the Pro Bowl as a flag football game. So
I don't love that, but I do love the other stuff they've done around it.
Yeah, that stuff is cool, like the little skills challenges and stuff.
It's kind of a little bit interesting.
I wish the Pro Bowl in itself actually mattered.
Yeah,
but
if it was like for home field advantage in the Super Bowl or something like that.
Or your team starts with 3 points ahead in the Super Bowl. That would be way too much.
If you get a safety, it's worth 3 points instead of 2 points.
Yeah, it's something that doesn't matter at all. It might, because
there was a safety in the next, well, not the next game, the game after.
There wasn't there?
Let's just go to that game then. The Bucs and Eagles. We'll go out of order since we were just talking about a safety. My one thought about this game, the Eagles are trash.
Yep. What happened?
What happened? I don't know. They were 10-1. They went through a little bit of a gauntlet in their schedule, and they fell apart and looked horrible.
Yeah, they did not get past any adversity this year. As soon as things got tough, they just plummeted.
Dude, this game was so wild. Like, Baker, first off, played awesome. He had 337 yards, 3 touchdowns. You sent me a funny picture about how he was taking D-line scout team snaps for the Panthers last year.
The Panthers, what are the Panthers doing having Baker Mayfield on the D-line scout team? First off, Baker is not a D lineman. Second off, he just won your division on a different team the year following. Sell the team,
and then
David Tepper.
Sell him, brother. And then he goes on and wins the playoff game. So he looked good. There were definitely a lot of the Bucs in general that looked good.
Mm-hmm.
But the Eagles didn't tackle. They gave them 2 touchdowns, essentially.
Yep.
They had that cross where they ran into each other, which is just man coverage 101 right there. Don't do that. They, again, didn't tackle. Then on offense, their play calling just felt very suspect, what they were doing.
Yeah, they just did not have it at all.
And they didn't get a tush push for a 2-point conversion.
No, that one, I think there was a face mask in there.
No, but
that wasn't called.
Probably, but still, I'm just saying, of anything to put like a bow on the Eagles season is that they couldn't even do that.
Yeah, that is true. They got stopped on the tush push. Maybe first time ever. But again, I think there was a face mask on that, but it is kind of nice to see them not convert on one of those. This game could have even been worse. Mike Evans had 2 big drops down the sideline. One would have certainly been a touchdown. The other one could have been a touchdown. I don't think the Bucs scored on either of those drives. So, yeah, man, the Bucs just controlled this game, which again, neither of us saw coming, but neither of us are mad about.
No. There's like a small, maybe like 30% of me that's like, what if, I mean, the Eagles are playing so bad, the Bucs could do it. But you're like, no, the Eagles are just a better team.
I didn't see this one coming at all, to be honest.
I didn't see it being 32-9. That I didn't see at all. Like a just straight blowout. Because again, like you said, it could have been worse.
I didn't think the Bucs could score 32 points on
They scored
Eagles.
9 against the Panthers.
Exactly. What a pleasant surprise, man.
It was a crazy game. Devonta Smith was the one bright side for the Eagles. The man was all over the place. Ended up with 148 yards. I thought it was a great game by him. Other than that, though, I mean, Swift was their leading rusher with 34 yards, and they said their game plan coming in was going to be running the ball.
Yeah, you don't love that. Devonta Smith did look really good though, going up and getting some catches, looking like he did at Alabama. But yeah, when your leading rusher has 34 yards, it's never a good sign. I thought the safety by Jalen Hurts was real bad.
It wasn't a good one.
Real bad. He even had the dude like right there in his face, and he could have easily thrown it away before he got there, and he still tried to make something happen. And that was a pretty pivotal point in the game. Like, it was still a game at that point. And after that, I think that was the turning point where it was just pretty much over.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that there. That's not a good spot to do that. Hate to see Jason Kelce go out like that, though.
I do too.
I like Jason Kelce.
I do too. There are Eagles players I like. Don't like the organization. Don't like the city. Jason Kelce is one of them. I would have, obviously it's hindsight, but I wish he could have gone back and retired after the Super Bowl. That would have been great.
Yeah, I wish he could have too. Fellow podcaster, he's probably going to do that full time now.
Yeah, come on. Come on, undrafted, Jason.
Yeah, come on, man. Did you see where he stopped by McDonald's in Philly and gave his favorite McDonald's employee a signed jersey?
No, that's awesome.
It's a good move.
What a guy.
Love that.
Yeah, I do hate that he had to go out this way. I would say that he, along with a lot of different players on the Eagles this year, just looked like this season beat something out of them in a very bad way. You know what I mean? They looked like defeated, dejected, whatever word you want to throw in there.
Right. Something had to be going on in the locker room, and there had to be some kind of discord. There had to be. They just looked like they weren't enjoying it.
Agreed, which then makes me think the whole conversation, should Sirianni be here? Should he get fired? It's crazy. They were in a Super Bowl last year.
Right.
But what was going on here? This might be one of the biggest collapses, going from 10-1, which not saying that teams haven't gone 10-1 and then lost, but a team that was just in the Super Bowl last year that has such a bad collapse at the end of the season. Like, has that happened?
Yeah, I think you probably got to look at it as a whole. But that being said, if there was some background stuff going on in the locker room we don't know about, that he just couldn't get the team together, I think that would be, maybe reason to move on from him.
I mean, Philly will run people off, though. This wouldn't be unheard of for them.
Yeah, I think Philly fans are done with him.
Yeah.
Which, again, is kind of crazy because
Super Bowl.
And they could have won last year. They easily could have won.
It was like a very close game. We talked about the holding at the end, but either way, it was back and forth. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to say no for now. Actually, no. I'm almost leaning towards keeping McCarthy and letting go of Sirianni.
I think I would keep both of them at the moment.
I'm also assuming that he's lost the locker room at this point.
Yeah,
it's a big assumption. But if I look at the way the season went, there's just too much talent for the way that ended up.
I think their defensive coordinator needs to bounce. because they got a different one from last year.
Yeah, because that was the other thing. Last year they had great coordinators. We look what
Yeah,
they did now.
their defense this year was not the same, and they had a really high level of talent this year again. So I think if I was going to fire somebody, it would be the defensive coordinator right now.
Kind of like that.
I would keep Sirianni just based on the fact that last year they made that run. They started the year so good, and who knows what happened, but I would keep him for now.
I get that. Okay, so then last game, Bills, Steelers. I won't make you talk about it too much. Bills ended up winning 31-17, but it felt like it was going to be just a blowout at first.
Yeah. Josh Allen, he's just that man. That dude.
4 touchdowns, 52-yard run. That was a nice run. There's the controversy. Did he do a fake slide? What was happening there?
I don't think so, man. He just stuck his foot down in the ground and made a hard turn.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do think it is a problem, though, how late most quarterbacks slide.
Yeah, I agree.
To still flag all the defenders.
Right. And it's a problem with the rule is what it is. And people are trying to abuse the rule, obviously.
Obviously. The Buffalo, though, so the game got moved, as everyone knows, from Saturday to Monday. What I thought was cool is that they were paying Bills fans to come out and shovel the game. That would be so much fun to shovel a stadium. Like,
that'd be a blast.
How fun would it be for one day you get out there with all the fans are together. You're with your guys getting pumped up for the game. That would be so fun.
Shoveling snow, breaking tables with Bills Mafia. I'm sure they were having a blast out there. And then, you could make a little igloo, hide in it, stay for the game.
Get a free ticket.
Get a little free ticket to the game. Did you see where they were throwing snowballs at players?
Yeah, there was that almost touchdown, where they threw, I think it was to
At George Pickens,
Deontay
right?
Johnson, or was it Pickens?
I can't remember.
It was either Deontay Johnson or Pickens, but it was like cutting towards the end, and they threw a snowball at him. That was a little bit too far, but also kind of awesome.
I mean, you give a bunch of Bills fans snow, what do you expect is going to happen?
What do you expect from them?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. All right, should we just do our picks now, going into the divisional round?
So game number 1, we got the Texans traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Lamar's back in the playoffs. We know he's had a little bit of difficulty in the playoffs in the past. Could be the year he puts it all together, though. The Ravens are looking really good, but at the same time, the Texans, we just talked about this earlier. I don't know, man. They're on a roll.
I know. CJ Stroud does look good right now. They could do it. Do you think they will, though?
I don't think so. I think they have a chance, but I think Lamar and the Ravens are just too good this year. Something feels different about them. They're rolling. I think they take care of business at home.
I agree with you. I think the Texans are a very good team, and they could shock people. I think they've already had a great season. I would even pick them against the Chiefs or maybe potentially even the Bills. But like you said, I think something's different about the Ravens this year. I think there's a determination from Lamar, and I don't think that they're going to lose their first playoff game.
I was waiting for the Ravens to slip up all regular season just because I feel like we've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
And they just put the foot on the gas and just kept going, man.
Yeah,
they
despite injuries, despite whatever happened.
Yeah, they just looked really good all year. So I'm riding with the Ravens.
I like that too. So we're both in agreement here. The second game in the AFC, we have a very exciting rematch from the legendary 2021 Divisional Round, where the game ended up changing NFL overtime rules forever.
I wonder if this is what the script writers wanted.
I wonder if it's what they wanted. I hope it's a similar rematch where it's just a bunch of scoring back and forth. I think this time, though, I think the Bills are going to pull it out.
I think it will be a very close game. I don't think it'll be the same back and forth scoring as much. Both offenses look very different than they did that year in
plus weather.
2021. Yeah, plus weather. I think the defenses will come a little bit more into play, but I like the Bills in this one too, man. Josh Allen has been playing really well lately. I think he's got a better supporting staff on offense around him than Patrick Mahomes does. And the Chiefs have kind of been the Bills' Achilles heel so far in the playoffs. I think this is where they get it done at home.
I think so too. All right, so this thinks we are in agreement, but it is what it is. We're picking home teams, we're picking favorites, but it makes sense right now.
Makes sense.
In the NFC, we have the Packers playing the 49ers. The Packers are red hot. They've basically been playing playoff games for the last 2 months, month and a half at least.
Right.
So it's young talent versus rested 49ers that haven't played in a little bit. That is definitely a little bit concerning for me.
You don't have trap games in the playoffs, but if there was ever a trap game in the playoffs, I feel like this would be it.
Right. Like the Packers have absolutely nothing to lose, and there's so much pressure on the Niners in this game. However, I think the Niners are going to win. I think the Packers might put some heat on them and keep it a little bit close, but I think the Niners are winning here.
I was really curious to see who you picked in this one.
Yeah, shocker.
Yeah, the 49ers, man, too much talent on this team to go out with a first-round exit, similar to the Ravens. Just a really good, well-rounded team. I think they get it done at home.
I like it.
I think it could be close, though, with the Packers, the way they've played against the Cowboys, and the fact that they've had, really meaningful games for the past 2 months. We'll see. I think
the flip
49ers
side,
do get
though,
it
of
done,
what you're saying, because I had that thought. It's like, take the Texans and the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to ride high on their big playoff wins. It's like, well, what have the Niners or what have the Ravens done yet? It was like, well, they had a bye. They haven't done anything. And like, if you look at the Cowboys, yes, the Packers went in and blew them out, which was awesome. But the Niners also blew them out. The Cardinals blew them out. Like,
yeah. And also, a lot of other sports, if you have a rest, I feel like it's a little worrisome. Mm-hmm. Football, you probably want as long of a rest as you can. So
you're not going to forget how to play. So it's the whole rest versus rust debate. But realistically, it's just like you get a healthier CMC. You know what I mean? You get a healthy Trent Williams. I'll take those things.
Yeah, I think 49ers definitely have this one. Last game of the divisional round, we got the Bucs traveling to Detroit to another electric Ford Field showdown.
They get another playoff game. They
get
waited
another
long
one,
enough for it.
Yeah. Detroit deserves this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what everybody's been saying. Lions have been playing so well lately. Dan Campbell's been electric. I'm riding with the Lions on this one. Who you got?
I hate to agree with you on all of our picks and pick home team favorites. That feels like a waste of a picking. But honestly, I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Lions are going to win here. The Bucs had a great game. The Eagles are a very different team. Like I think the Rams would beat the Bucs right now, and the Lions handled them. And so I think they're just more talented than the Bucs. Like,
right.
I hate saying that, but they have a lot of talent, especially on offense. Then again, the Bucs did go to Lambeau a few weeks ago and just work the Packers there. So
that's true. Could happen. Could happen. I don't know, man. I'm staying with the Lions. If you want to flip, feel free. But Lions, I'm around with the Lions. I'm around with Dan Campbell, the hot hand.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Lions. They just have so many ways to win again. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Jared Goff's looking good.
It does feel weird taking the Detroit Lions in back-to-back playoff games, but I love it, and I think they have the team to do it. Detroit in the
NFC Championship would
game?
Be so electric.
That would be hype.
Oh, man.
And if the Packers win, it'll be in Detroit. So I know you're hoping for that one.
That's not happening. We're locking it in then. Both of us are saying it's going to be the Bills and the Ravens in the AFC Championship and the Niners and the Lions in the NFC Championship. I love that. I think that's a great championship if that happens.
I'm here for it.
Here for it.
Man, Detroit versus 49ers in the NFC Championship is going to be hype.
That would be so fun.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, let's bring in the vibes with Iceman.
Ooh.
What's up, everybody? This week's Unsung Hero goes out to Madison. Yeah, the Twitter/Instagram/TikTok star has kind of gotten famous in the past for going and sitting in businesses for as long as she possibly can. But this past week, she posted something that took it to another level. If you've ever been on some random youth adventure or otherwise, you may have ended up at Dick's Last Resort, a restaurant where they just make fun of you for the sake of making fun of you. They're intentionally rude, and that's kind of what they're proud of. But Madison got her revenge. You see, Madison went in there by herself, which is really vulnerable to begin with because all they're going to do is make fun of how single you are or whatever and so on and so forth. But at the very end, as the waiter continues to be rude to her, she decides to show him how she's going to pay. And she pulled out a bag full of pennies. And Madison got the ultimate revenge at Dick's Last Resort. So Madison, here's to you. for getting back at all the people that have made jokes that went a little too far. You're this week's Unsung Hero.
That one's got a little different feel to it, but I like it.
That does. I like it, though. I mean,
Let's go, man.
Someone had to do
back.
it. Paying with pennies.
Somebody had to. That's a ultimate troll, paying with pennies. Because what are they going to do? They can't really turn you down.
How do you troll a troll? Pay with pennies.
Pay with pennies.
I love that.
Life lessons.
Life lessons. All right, so draft time. For this draft, we're going to mix it up a little bit. And we're going back to where there's kind of like teams. So we're going to draft the ultimate dream team, offensive version this time.
Ultimate
from 2023. And so we're doing a quarterback, running back number 2, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, tight end, and O-line. We can pick in any order we want. That's pretty much it. You get the first pick. Still snake draft.
I'm so excited to have the first pick here.
What you going to do with it?
Do you know why?
Who you going to take?
Should I take Travis Kelce? Oh, wait, McCaffrey's still available. So I'm going to take Christian McCaffrey for my number 1 pick at running back. Just to right your wrongs from earlier this year that we talked about earlier on the pod. Going to have Christian McCaffrey at number 1. Was that your number 1?
Of course it was my number 1.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
I deserve that. Oh, my gosh.
Been waiting for this moment.
Whatever.
All day.
That was a great pick. I'm going to do Mahomes then. I'm going to take Mahomes at quarterback. And then I'm going to take Tyreek Hill at receiver number 1.
Ooh, you did me dirty on purpose.
You took McCaffrey. I'm taking Tyreek from you. Hate to see it.
Yeah, that is tough. All right, so you already have a quarterback, so I don't really have to worry about that. Let me go. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson. Wide receiver 1.
That's a great pick.
Running back 2. So we have McCaffrey, all-purpose back. We need a heavy set back.
Don't do it.
We need a bruiser. Give me the king, baby. Give me Derrick Henry. Come on.
Oh, I hate that
Let's
so
go.
much. I hate that so much. I knew I wasn't going to get it, but I just really wanted McCaffrey and Derrick Henry as my backs.
Yeah,
Gosh,
I'm sorry.
imagine
man.
that combo in real life.
Yeah, that would be deadly. What if the 49ers somehow picked up Henry? Would not be good for the rest of the league.
That would be wild, though. And now I know who you're going to get for quarterback. This is frustrating. Okay, so...
Oh, boy. I love how this is setting up for me.
I know. I just thought about how it's setting up for you, and I hate it. Okay, I'm going to do George Kittle at tight end because this is just real football, not fantasy. So he's probably the best all-around tight end. Love that pick.
Yeah, good pick.
I'm going to do Jamar Chase for wide receiver number 2.
Ooh, that's a good pick that I did not have on my radar there.
Oh, dang. So you were feeling good without ever thinking about him. I hate that.
Yeah. I was
hate
feeling
that.
pretty good, never even thinking about him, honestly. All right, so I got 2 running backs, a wide receiver. I think we're going to need a line for our running backs. We're going, 2023, right? So, Jason Kelce is still on the Eagles.
No. He's gone now, unless I draft him.
I'm going Eagles line.
Okay.
Eagles O-line. Imagine McCaffrey and Henry behind the Eagles O-line.
Oh, gosh.
And Lamar Jackson at quarterback.
Your
Tush
run
push,
game-
Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry behind him.
Your run game is unreal.
Unstoppable run game.
That's nice. Okay, so then I'm going to pick... Ooh. I was really expecting to get at least McCaffrey or Henry. So this throws us off a little bit. I'm going to take the Ravens offensive line.
Okay. Good pick there.
And then running back 1, I'm actually going to do Breece Hall. He's like in the McCaffrey boat, where he's just the all-around back, great receiving back, and then I'll pick a good bruiser next.
He looked real good at the end of the year there.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that you have the injury first part of the season. He's getting back into old form or new form. And so I'm assuming end of year him is what we have looking forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He had a real good end of the season. Wide receiver and tight end. I think I'll pick a tight end right now. I think I would be wrong to leave Travis Kelce out of this. So I'm going Travis Kelce. Even with the drops, I would love to have pre-Taylor Swift Travis Kelce, but I'll go post-Taylor Swift Travis Kelce. Last but not least, got wide receiver number 2. Really wanted Tyreek. Wish I would have thought about Jamar Chase. On the right team, I think Devontae Adams is the next best in the league there.
Dude, I love Devontae Adams.
Ooh, Devontae or CeeDee Lamb?
I'm going Devontae.
I'm going Devontae.
Dang,
Yeah, I think on the right team, Devontae Adams is going to ball out. I think he's not the best situation at the moment, but you put him in the right spot, he's balling.
Man. Okay, so then final pick. I've got one more running back. Got to do a bruiser. And in this dream team, we can snap our fingers and injuries are fixed. So I'm going to take Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I forgot about him with the injury.
Yeah. It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah, dude's a beast, though.
Dang. So your team then, you've got Lamar, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, and the Eagles O-line. I had Patrick Mahomes, Breece Hall. Why am I having more trouble thinking about my team than your team? But Patrick Mahomes, Breece Hall, Nick Chubb, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, George Kittle, and the Ravens offensive line. I think you won.
I didn't want to be the one to say it. I think my team might be unstoppable. Run game is definitely unstoppable. Push behind the Eagles O-line with Lamar and Derrick Henry. Fake push, flip out to McCaffrey.
I mean, Devontae Adams being receiver number 2.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Feel pretty confident with that team. So
either team would be nasty.
I feel like the first pick in this draft was very, very important. So thanks for giving me that.
But then again, we forgot what Patrick Mahomes is like with receivers. Give him Tyreek Hill again.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Patrick
Jamar
Mahomes,
Chase?
you put Patrick Mahomes on a team with those two and anything could happen for sure. But I'm taking my team either way, though.
Vote on it. Comment. You know the deal.
Let's see what you got.
See what you think, people. All right. Until next time. I don't know. Keep it easy. Like, subscribe, share, do all the kind things like that. We will see you next week.
Love them. We'll see you next week, guys.
Peace.